All right, let's make fun of nerds, said the nerd. Welcome back to Ruben Uncut. Today, I am going to be looking at someone who I've been meaning to look at for a minute, just because it's interesting to me. Now, to be fair, this does begin to set the dangerous trend of Ruben attacking Gen Z influencers who might be children. Oh, it's not a good pattern to have, but today I'm here to talk to you about ranting for vengeance. Now this is what his page looks like. Edgy, right? You can feel the teenage coming off of that. Let's take a quick look at the types of videos he's got here, and then I'm gonna pick a few because his videos are fucking shorter than I expected. This is just a heads up. He uses the R slur in literally 60 or something % of his little thumbnails here. Now, I specifically wanted to look for and debunk his clip on Reddited people being race swapped, because I actually have a lot to say about that one, because it is actually an interesting thing, and it's not unreal, but he obviously doesn't have good arguments for it. I'm going to go to the Am I Racist one last. Let's take a look at his Absolute Batman Goes Full Woke Slop. Let's see what that's about. Now, I've not read this whole book, but I think I know what he's mad about. Let's see if he has a real argument, or if he really is just, racist. I have to assume that he's going to use the R slur a lot, so if you're bothered by the R slur, you should be warned.
So I'm a little late to this story, but who cares? Absolute Batman has apparently broken the no-kill rule. And you'll be asking yourself, why would the writers make such a big decision? Well, the answer is because they wanted to crack down on people who...
Just, for context, Absolute Batman is a non-canon alternate universe where Batman and everyone exists in a universe where Darkseid has influenced the universe, so almost everyone is darker, edgier, and looks like they've been pumping steroids since birth. I'm pretty sure that he broke the no-kill rule before this issue, but like I said, I have not been reading Absolute Batman. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have read Absolute Batman. I hear it's a banger.
Who have a certain political opinion. Yeah, this comic continues to be absolute...
And that political opinion that he didn't say, we'll see if he says it out loud, but that political opinion is white supremacy. It's Batman killing white supremacists. Specifically stated, white supremacists. Did you see that symbol? What's the problem? White supremacists have been the bad guys in media for at least 50 years now. It's not new.
Retardation that nobody knows about or cares about. But before we get into it, if you like these type of videos and you want
it's an interesting claim to say that about a story about fighting racism.
to help out the channel, maybe consider subscribing or becoming a patron. So I don't really like doing 50 videos on one subject like I've done in the past, because I feel that after a certain point it'll get exhausting just listening to woke slop. So that is my mindset, but this Absolute Batman story is too big and retarded to ignore. And because of that, I'm gonna stay true to what I believe. I'm not gonna go through this comic page by page, tearing it apart, because any person with common sense already...
I'm sorry, did he say he is or isn't going to go through it page by page? His accent a little bit thick.
Already knows that DC as a company is dead. The normal Batman comics are gay and handicapped, which we'll get to in a second, and Absolute Batman is just that times 10. So I'm not gonna do something where I break every single thing down as if it's some story that's worth reading. But I do just want to...
Oh, he's not. Which, just so you know, from an analytical standpoint, gives him an advantage in terms of propagandizing. By not engaging directly with the beats, allows him to paint the picture however he wants.
Touch on the people who are loving this garbage. They're celebrating this as if it's like Watchmen or The Dark Knight Returns.
I don't think anyone thinks that this comic book is as good as The Watchmen or The Dark Knight Returns necessarily. the only thing it really has in common with The Dark Knight Returns is him, mangling Nazis. But, like, what is the point of defending this? Like, what are you defending here? Holy shit, are his teeth that bad? Or is that just the lighting? Side note, his lighting is weird.
This is probably all I'll show because the cringe just gets out of hand. So this guy...
Batman breaking a white supremacist's arms is based as fuck. If you're bothered by that, you need to ask yourself, why would you be bothered by that? Why should we be alarmed by Batman taking out white supremacists? It doesn't make sense. Why would we be bothered by that? Why would we be bothered by that? Are you going to make an argument for what's wrong with that conceptually?
This guy here gets 6 million views and 200k likes. That's one of the most retarded pictures of all time from the...
Have you even read the comic? Also, how is Batman breaking a guy's arm R-worded? Like, what? Like, how? Like, what's wrong with this? Say something that's actually wrong with the image.
The brand new Absolute Batman Annual, which nobody read, by the way. Like, nobody gives a...
I can't find exact numbers for Absolute Batman Annual number 1, but I can confirm that it received multiple printings. So, somebody bought it. Enough for them to print it more than once. So that's a bold claim that he's not backing up with anything. Also, Absolute Batman number 1 apparently is sold around 400,000 copies, which I know doesn't sound like a lot if you compare it to, like, video games sold, but that's actually a lot for a comic book these days.
Fuck about that. And the same goes for these pages that you're posting up, as if they mean something. It all comes back to the classic Reddit...
What do you mean? Make an argument. Make a point.
Mentality of, hey, my favorite woke character agrees with me, so yeah. And they think that it gives them a leg to stand on. Who gives a shit if...
What's wrong with Batman fighting white supremacies? What's wrong with it? Make a statement. Make a claim.
Absolute Batman would agree with you. And this doesn't just go out to the fake fans who are just gay retards like this guy, but it also goes out to the spastics at DC making this shit. Do you think you're making a difference, and do you think that anybody finds this cool? As I said earlier, people are talking about this, and the writers and artists making this...
Hold on, we have to go back, because that's actually hilariously stupid. He asked if Batman was crying in this picture. He asked if it says... Is he crying in this picture? And I don't know if he added the caption, but, like, first of all, maybe he's crying, but it's also raining. And we also see that this water is, that's coming down over his face, starts at the back of his head. Yeah, I know, we all cry from the back of his head. What? Look at it. Look at it. Seriously, some people are fucking stupid.
A difference, and you think that anybody finds this cool. As I said earlier, people are talking about this, and the writers and art...
Beating up white supremacists is fucking cool. And if you don't think so, it's because you must have that the only reason to think it's not cool would be if you are holding some type of water for the concept of white supremacy. And just so you know, the concept of white supremacy is the idea that white people are both superior to other people, but also that white people should get to be above other people in the hierarchy. That's white supremacy. So, he has not made an argument for why it's wrong for Batman to beat up white supremacists. Like, it's like he doesn't want to say out loud the thing that he is doing.
Artists making this slop think that it's The Dark Knight Returns or Frank Miller's Daredevil or what.
I haven't heard anyone call it that. I haven't heard anyone say that it is as innovative as those books. I haven't heard one person say that. What I have heard a lot of people say is, isn't it cool that Batman beat up a bunch of white supremacists? Because, objectively, it fucking is. White supremacists are never cool.
Watchmen. And here's the thing, I don't even like Watchmen, but I can't sit here and say that it isn't a famous piece of work that changed comics. And the same goes for Daredevil Born Again.
It's interesting how mass opinion, how these people have to suck up to mass opinion even when it's things they don't like. Like, he understands that if he goes against Watchmen, that will be a step too far for many comic book fans, even though, by the way, he has videos attacking Watchmen specifically. But here he's afraid to say it for some reason. He has to acknowledge the influence and impact of the book. Because to a certain level, the influence and impact of Watchmen is kind of an objective thing that we can measure. But, so he understands that he can't argue against that. So instead, he's just going to do a lot of ad hominem attacks on the people who make this, because he can't, or at least so far, he has not said out loud the truth.
Again, and The Dark Knight Returns. You know, all these comics that none of you have read. And no, I'm not talking to the people with brains out there who can
Just so you know, I've read both of those.
Actually think for themselves. I'm talking to the people like this guy who are posting about how they love Absolute Batman breaking up neo-Nazis. Have you read Frank Miller?
What's wrong with that? Your argument seems to imply that that is not awesome. So what's not awesome about it?
There's Daredevil. Have you read Denny O'Neil Batman? I don't think so. But all that stuff aside,
I've read Denny O'Neil's Batman. Did he say Frank Miller's Daredevil? Because I have read Frank Miller's Daredevil. Actually, it's the only Daredevil that I've read. Wait, no, that's not true. I also read Daredevil. Who else's Daredevil did I read? I read someone else's Daredevil too, but Frank Miller's is the main Daredevil that I've read.
I just think that it's absolutely hilarious that you think you're making a difference. You think by drawing some spasticated comic where fake Batman goes around crushing people, you're changing the political landscape of the world.
Literally, this is an argument for nothing. This is literally an argument for nothing. We don't evaluate art in this manner. Partly because it's impossible to register in the very few things are classics in their own time. And even then, we have to evaluate whether or not that classic in their own time status is something that was deserved or not by whether or not it is remembered hundreds of years later or decades later, depending on what time frame you want to go with. So, do I think that Absolute Batman is changing the political landscape by having Batman beat up Nazis? No. But is that the only reason to have Batman beat up Nazis? See, it's not a real argument for anything. Like, his claim doesn't matter. He's just trying to undermine a work that depicts beating up Nazis.
Nobody read this shit. And
like, Walker, Texas Ranger used to beat up white supremacists. There are literal episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger where big-ass Republican Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks fucking neo-Nazis right in their goddamn faces. That has to tell you something. That has to tell you where our society has moved politically, that now people can actively be mad at media for beating up Nazis and neo-Nazis. It's insane.
End of story. Moving on. At this point, I can't even get angry at this because this is just laughable. Who thinks...
Why would you get angry at it, though? That's the thing. Why does this bother you? Why does it bother you that there is a comic book where Batman sets a bunch of neo-Nazis on fire? Why is that a problem for you?
That this is even Batman. So this artist, Dan Mora, who draws Batman and all these great DC comics and is beloved.
Oh, the guy did some fan art where he did a fan art of a non-published work of two of these characters, of Batman and Superman kissing. Ooh, no. It's not canon, bro. Chill out. What is your problem?
And he's so awesome, is just drawing Batman and Superman being gay. And I'm pretty sure it's like a fan commission, so you walk up to your face.
Oh my god, a fan commission? I'm mad that someone asked for this. What are we doing? What is your problem?
Favorite artist and say, hey, can you draw Batman and Superman being gay for some reason? Imagine trying this on an actual good artist, like walking up to Neil Adams or John Byrne and being like, hey, can you draw Wolverine, but instead of smoking a cigar, he's just gay and retarded.
So first of all, no one's gonna ask that he be R-worded. Second of all, how do you know Neil Adams wouldn't draw that? How do you know?
For some reason, this guy, Dan Mora, is just drawing them happily, and he's done it multiple times.
Also, X-Men is an incredibly gay comic, even just subtextually. John Byrne probably would draw it.
As I said, you can't really get mad and lose your crap over this because...
And yet you made a video of it?
This isn't really Batman. Dan Mora is not a good artist. Nobody knows who the hell he is. Nobody knows.
Except you, because you made a video about him. Obviously, and if he's drawing absolute Batman, then yeah, we do? Or is Dan Mora a different artist that you just brought into this and I missed the connection somehow?
Knows what his comics are. Nobody knows what Absolute Batman or its shitty
Absolute Batman is apparently has sold over like 3.8 million copies, apparently. And that's only hard copies. I have no idea what digital are.
Annual is. That's the whole point I'm trying to make with this video.
Actually, hold on. Let me give you the actual numbers for that. I'm sorry. I way underestimated that. 8.2 million issues of Absolute Batman have been sold, which is really good. Now, to be fair, that's from a series, not an individual issue, but that's still pretty good for a series that's only had as many issues as Absolute Batman has.
It's kind of hilarious that people think that Dan Mora, the mainline Batman runs, the Bat Family, Absolute Batman, it's the top of the comics world and everybody's reading it.
Wait, did you just say that this guy that you're saying nobody knows has drawn, like, on almost all the mainstream Batman comics? Are you fucking serious, bro? Are you fucking serious? Can you not... Like, oh my god, do you substantiate anything you say? Holy shit. Holy shit.
It's becoming mainstream now. The truth is, any real fan of DC, comics, or Batman saw Absolute Batman and went, what is this retarded shit? And then went...
It sold way too many copies for that to be true. And even if that was true, it doesn't matter because of capitalism. I'm sorry. You just... Like, what is this? This is impotent nerd rage at its most impotent.
Back to reading something good. I'm not even the biggest fan of new manga and anime, but I can give him respect because it's succeeding massively. And you want to know why? Because people don't care about Batman anymore. Batman sucks and he has for a long time. And he's become something that isn't even the same character. You know, the Dark Knight, the detective in Gotham City, the masculine vigilante who was vengeance. Nope.
I'm sorry, when did Batman stop being masculine? Could you list a specific moment of something, Batman doing something non-masculine? What do you think masculine is?
Nowadays, he's either some big Down syndrome guy beating people into the ground, or he's gay.
First of all, like, the way he's drawn in Absolute Batman is not super different from how Frank Miller drew him. And I'm pretty confident that you're a Frank Miller suck-up.
Gay in the case of Dan Mora here. And I'm not going to continue preaching about this for 50 million...
He's literally mad about a fan commission. Jesus Christ.
...videos straight. But I will laugh my ass off at every single retarded asshole that thinks that Absolute Batman is worth a shit. And if you're in the same boat as...
Make an argument. Make a claim. Back up something you've said with anything. Because holy shit. This is a real nothing video, man.
Me, where you're sick of all of this garbage, then maybe give some manga and anime a shot. And if you're not interested in that, then there's so many great comics that came before. And if you think in those terms, well done. You have common sense and you're a real fan of these characters.
If you have common sense, you might realize that he hasn't actually made an argument for anything. He's merely going completely off of feels, completely opinions. He hasn't substantiated a single claim that he's made. Fun facts.
Characters and comics. But if you're someone like the shitty artist Daniel Warren Johnson, gay Dan Mora, anybody working on this slop at DC, and anybody who wants to come in and argue because they're gay and retarded, fuck you and go complain to your boyfriend.
I will say something that is very distressing about this channel. This motherfucker has 23,500 subscribers. That's fucked up. Man, nerds really do suck. Nerds really do suck. There was a specific video that caught my attention that I wanted to address because it's about a comic that I've read. So it's been a minute. So if I get some of the details fucked up, but let's talk about Green fucking Arrow. Green Arrow is one of my personal favorite comics. He is one of the farthest left of all superheroes, by the way, in terms of politics.
Smashed my headlight. We worried we'd have to fight to get paid for such a small claim.
And life would revolve around the shopping cart.
In 1987, DC published a 3-issue miniseries in the vein of The Dark Knight Returns. It was named Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters. The Longbow Hunters took on the massive task of rebooting the character of Oliver Queen.
Just so everyone knows, The Longbow Hunters is not a complete reboot. It was part of the soft reboot moving into the post-Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline. Longbow Hunter, classic Green Arrow story. Very good, very mature, dark, grounded. It's good stuff. It's really good. It's a really good book. I have a feeling about where this video is going to go, and then I have something I'm going to say to just destroy it.
Only one man could do it, and his name was Mike Grell. Grell worked on Green Lantern Green Arrow with Denny O'Neil for a while, but more importantly, he created one of the most influential indie comics ever made that still goes under the radar. In 1983, Mike Grell drew and wrote the comic John Sable Freelance. John Sable Freelance was a gritty noir comic about John Sable, a mercenary whose family had been killed, and ever since that day, he went on a quest for vengeance. Sable was a soldier of fortune / mercenary with the characteristics of Philip Marlowe mixed with James Bond. The series had an absolutely amazing atmosphere. Rain-soaked city streets, femme fatales, and real-world issues that crept their way into the stories but didn't feel forced. But that was the thing. Mike Grell had a philosophy in mind where his hero didn't discriminate. Black, white, terrorist, Nazi, communist, it didn't matter. If you were a radical...
Did he just fail? Did he just attempt to bleep out the word Nazi and just fail horrifically? That's hilarious. Side note, his teeth make mine look not fucked up. I don't really want to make fun of that, though. It's not really my style. Plus, you know, he's like a British kid, so it's just a stereotype. It's laziness, but I'm leaving it in.
Radical of any kind, and if you cause the world hurt on purpose,
I don't know if you're gonna hear my cat right now.
he'd find you and bring you to justice. And this is where we get to Green Arrow, where that philosophy was fully realised, where Denny O'Neil wrote a radical liberal, which everybody still thinks the Green Arrow character is to this.
Because he is. Denny O'Neil is A, not the only person to do that with his character, and B, I can tell you haven't read the rest of Mike Grell's run. Okay? Alright, that's just a preview of what's coming.
This day, Mike Grell wrote a far more grounded and realistic version, which is way less retarded. So, I'm sorry to break your heart.
I really hate his use of the word. He just uses it. He uses it gratuitously. I feel like he uses it because it's specifically the only slur he can get away with. And, like, it's always in place of making a point. Like, instead of making a point about something, he just calls it R-worded. And it's frustrating. Because it doesn't substantiate the claim. In fact, that is the claim, and he allows it to be unsubstantiated.
But when we actually look into it and actually read the comics that the character is in, he hasn't always been a radical leftist like you believe. Warning before we continue, this will contain spoilers for The Longbow Hunters and Mike Grell's Green Arrow run. So go right now, buy it and read it. You will not regret it, because my god, is it one of the most...
So is he gonna talk about the Gauntlet? Will he talk about the Gauntlet?
Underrated and overlooked stories ever. So an aging Oliver Queen and Dina Lance move into the seedy noir world of Seattle, which I believe is one of the best settings for a comic. It matches Frank Miller's Hell's Kitchen or Frank Miller's Gotham. All crime is rampant.
Is Seattle comparable to those places? I honestly have no idea. Never been to Seattle.
City is overrun by drugs, prostitution, and most importantly, murder. So when a serial killer is loose on the underworld of Seattle, an older Oliver Queen must come back into the fold. Oliver Queen drops the persona of the smiling hero we once saw in the Justice League. He drops all of the gimmicky trick arrows and takes up an old-fashioned longbow. As we see this grim vision of Seattle, we get treated to some of the most haunting yet kick-ass dialogue you've ever seen in a comic book. There are all kinds of hunters. Some hunt to survive, and others just like to watch things die. But some hunt the hunters. The story of this comic has an atmosphere similar to the film Seven. Investigative, incredibly paced, and in my personal opinion, it actually surpasses The Dark Knight Returns. Mike Grell creates a Green Arrow that is the...
I mean, it's a good book. Surpasses The Dark... I mean, like, it's not like... I would say... I mean, it's... They're actually very different books. How does he feel about Frank Miller putting politics in everything?
Opposite of the whiny libtard that we all know, Oliver Queen is transformed into a veteran of vigilante justice and detective work.
The thing is, though, is that he's not a whiny lib. Green Arrow is a leftist, not a whiny lib.
This comic truly is an epic R-rated noir filled with blood, guts, and harsh truths about shady three-letter agencies. This book touches on the Iran-Contra scandal, anti-drugs,
which were all, by the way, which were controversies that were viewed from a left-wing perspective at that point in the 80s. Just so you know. Just so you know, the things you just described are topics of interest to the left in the 80s. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that.
And the Japanese internment camps. Say what you want about all those topics.
That's woke as fuck, bro! That's... talking about Japanese internment camps is definitionally woke.
But it's a fact that this is an expertly written mystery that fits in its message perfectly and doesn't force it down your throat. And to the people putting this in the same
So, like, the issue becomes, do you think the issue is writing or wokeness? Because it's not always going to be both. You just described several story elements that make this book woke, definitionally. He doesn't care. He doesn't know. Because he doesn't know. He probably couldn't tell you what woke means.
Conversation as Denny O'Neill's question, you're entirely incorrect. Mike Grell has been writing street-level vigilante stories long before Denny O'Neill even touched off of the question. So stop putting them in the same conversation. The question is a messy, liberal piece of trash. Green Arrow is a realistic...
The question is a messy, liberal piece of trash. Okay, so let's just address that real quick. The original writing of the question was libertarian. Denny O'Neill, who is liberal, did not like that and changed it during the 1980s reboot of the question. However, Jeff Johns would later subtly reestablish the fact that the question is a libertarian. To be fair, this was not done directly. It was done by having him do things like wear a t-shirt that says Atlas Shrugged on it. Or Atlas Shrugged references. Because, in fairness, the question was in fact inspired by the writings of Ayn Rand. I know, it's tragic, but he is a Steve Ditko character, so it makes sense.
Take on the world that is comic book mastery. Mike Grell, in my opinion, is up there with Frank Miller for being a master of writing grim, dark detective stories within the pages of comic books. And
see, like, I'm getting the suspicion that it's just vibes. It's just vibes.
The quality of the Longbow Hunters just continues on into the full Green Arrow run. Within the first 2 issues of the Green Arrow run, we already have some of the best displays of detective work and real justice ever portrayed in a comic book.
I would actually like to hear what he means by real justice. Does he mean that Green Arrow killed people?
Issue builds on that dark world that we were introduced to in the Longbow Hunters. Then we see the return of Shadow in the 4-issue story.
Oh, he skipped right over the gauntlet. He skipped right over the gauntlet story. Okay. Alright, we'll talk about the gauntlet in a minute. But, we'll keep going.
There be dragons. And in my opinion, that storyline is an underrated gem that nobody talks about. It's almost as good as Longbow Hunters itself. Mike Grell's Green Arrow.
Just to put this out there, he made, like, the thumbnail to this says, they hate this book, which is not true. Longbow Hunter is a widely respected story from Green Arrow. Actually, it might be the most widely respected Green Arrow story.
Arrow universe has a mythology. It actually has an ongoing arc, and nobody talks about this. I see lists all the time of the DC comic books that everybody should read. The Question by Denny O'Neil will even make it on there, but nobody
I haven't seen that list. I've never seen The Question by Denny O'Neil get on a list. It's like 11 issues. It was not widely successful. And not that I'm saying you shouldn't read it. I haven't read it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
Mentions this run. Maybe because he's not a liberal for the entire thing. He's not whining.
I assure you, in terms of when people are talking specifically about Green Arrow, they fucking talk about this book. I assure you.
And preaching into your face.
The thing is that he's making a claim that's substantiated by what he hasn't seen versus what he has seen. And that's always the shittiest kind of argument.
For every single page. So this comic is an absolutely underrated gem. One of the best in the entire medium, in my opinion. All in all.
Actually, don't disagree with that take. Longbow Hunters is a classic.
Mike Grell managed to reinvent Green Arrow from a whining loser into the perfect vigilante detective. So reject deconstructions of all your favorite heroes and embrace the vengeance-fueled justice that is Mike Grell's Green Arrow.
There's so many things wrong with the last sentence that he said. So, first of all, let's talk about it. Not only did he specifically just skip over the elements of the story that are definitionally woke, he specifically doesn't want to tell you about the storyline that comes in between the two stories that he mentioned. The Gauntlet. It's a great story. It's like 2 or 3 issues. I have it somewhere. I'll try and find it before I edit. But The Gauntlet is about AIDS. The Gauntlet tells a story about homophobia, murder, and AIDS. Specifically, the homophobic fear of AIDS. You see, in the story, what happens is that we meet this gay couple who come into their flower shop, and Ollie and Dinah are clearly friends with them, because they're leftists. And then those gay people leave, and they get assaulted, and one of them gets murdered. And in fact, it turns out there's a whole bunch of gay murders going on in the town. And it turns out, and this is the thing that's funny to me, is that Google AI describes this story as being about Green Arrow fighting gangs, which it technically is. But the thing that Google AI's overview left out when I looked it up, when I was fact checking myself here, this is to make sure. It's mainly to make sure that this story was in fact written by Mike Grell, which it was. Is that the storyline is essentially Green Arrow finds the killer of his gay friends, and it's a guy in a gang. A guy in a gang who says he did it because he didn't want to get AIDS. And essentially, before Green Arrow can get justice on this guy, he has to run something called the Gauntlet, where he has to go down a line of these gangbangers, and all the gangbangers get free shots on him, and he has to fight his way down. Like a gauntlet, a literal one. And at the end, he gets to make his statement about the fact that this guy killed his gay friends. And, the gang leader's even like, man, why the fuck do you do that? And the guy's like, oh, I was afraid of AIDS. And the gang leader shoots him. I'm going to have to find that issue and make sure it goes exactly how I remember it. But it is very funny to me that this man who is always, this child is always complaining about shit being gay and shit being woke. And he's a huge Mike Grell, specifically Green Arrow fan. And, I just have to think to myself, I don't think he's read any other Green Arrow stories besides the one he mentioned. Or he's specifically leaving out how woke Mike Grell was, and he's just, because it's convenient for his narrative. That's the thing, is this is so much of what he does is meaningless grift. This is the definition of grifter content. It's fucking sad. I keep wanting to make fun of him for things that I don't actually think you should make fun of people for. He's so effeminate.
Say on, dirtbag.
Also, Justice League Unlimited Green Arrow was also written as a liberal. In fact, they actually specifically juxtapose the question's more libertarian philosophies against his... Jesus Christ. This is what happens when you talk about media and you have no media literacy. Just a couple quick more comments about the Gauntlet. I was unfortunately discovered that I have no idea where my hard copies of those issues are, which is tragic for me. They're probably at my parents' house, but I don't know for sure where. That being said, some things I didn't mention is that it is a storyline that is specifically mentioned for its positive portrayal of homosexuals in a comic book in the late 80s and early 90s. No, it would have been late 80s. So those are just some other things to note. This is he is selectively deciding when to acknowledge wokeness. But let's not dwell on this forever. Let's see, am I racist? My response to the woke mob. I really, if anyone knows which video has his thing about redheads, that's the one I actually was really looking for, and I just don't feel like giving him the amount of attention that it would take for me to figure that out.
So what is the one thing in common with all of the people who attack me, my channel, and the people who agree with me? It's that they all just so happen to be degenerate, mentally ill freaks. And I'm not going to do anything big today. It's probably just going to be a short video.
I mean, did you include the people who agree with you as degenerate, mentally ill freaks? Did I mishear you? He's so androgynous looking. Which, you know what? Actually, maybe that's it. Maybe he grew up this androgynous kid, and it's always fucked with his sense of masculinity. That happens. I went through some of that, kid. When I was real little, super androgynous. So, like, my heart goes out to you if that's what made you such a bitter grifter.
But I'm going to have to respond to one of them because this prick just keeps on showing up in my Twitter feed. And to be honest, whoever you are, I could probably kick your ass. But before we...
I'm looking at you, brah, and like, you know, looks can be deceiving. Maybe you got like a whole bunch of black belts or something that I don't know about, but like, I'm telling you this, you should not be getting in fights. For starters, your face just looks like very soft and pillowy. A fist would just wreck it. Although it would make you look tougher with like how it would deform your face. So maybe that's what you're going for.
Before we get into all this nonsense, if you want to help me out, you don't have to. You can support me on Patreon. So there's tons of people out there.
Don't do that. Don't give this man money. This child money. There's a lot of rumors online that this kid's dad is really the one who puts him up to it, which would actually make so much fucking sense. Kid, if your father is forcing you to be a piece of shit grifter to make money on YouTube, blink twice.
Who have attacked me and my channel. And
oh, that was twice! That was twice!
To be honest, all of them could be exposed right now for being mentally ill nutjobs. It's not just woke, left, right, Democrat, Republican. These people are sick and probably belong in prison. I find it comical, really. People probably...
He's making a lot of bold claims that if it's anything like the other videos, he will not substantiate. He does not look good in a freeze frame, but then again, who does?
Think I'm bothered by the thousands of dislikes and angry comments, but really, when I know what type of person you are, like...
I'll be honest, I am never bothered by the negative comments that people leave. It's actually, like, I really thought I would be bothered by them, but like, no one who leaves negative comments tends to be smart.
I don't know, a gay flag in the bio, or a furry. How am I supposed to take you seriously? And that leads us in...
If you have he doesn't take people who have a gay flag in their bio seriously. That's interesting. Like, that's actually like an interesting thing about you, man. And like, the thing is that like, why? Like, do you understand that that's actually a type of logical fallacy? It's technically a type of logical fallacy for the furries too. Like, just because the source of something is wacky to you doesn't mean that the source can't be correct. Like, it's a bad argument.
Into this retard that I'm going to be talking about today. So you come over here, comic book movie cringe. He's this account with 18k followers. And the thing is, I've seen him for tons of years. He's been around a long while. And just from his bio, you can see that...
I have also seen comic book movie cringe. I haven't interacted with comic book movie cringe on Twitter in forever. I forget how I feel about them, actually. But at least I know they're not racist.
Oh yeah, not allowed 500 meters near Harley. And also an invite link to his Discord. So first of all, like a lot of people who attack me, you don't really show your face. You're just sitting behind some...
Just for the record. Face.
weird Twitter account and a Discord and talking about Harley Quinn like you're not allowed 500 meters near her. First of all, Harley Quinn sucks as a character.
First of all, he's making a joke because he's a fan of Harley Quinn, and there must be some sexual element to it.
Second of all, stop talking about degenerate subjects, you freak. Well, first of all, why aren't
What specific degenerate subject? Because you actually haven't addressed what subjects this guy's talking about yet. So are we just throwing out the word degenerate to, like, paint him? Or do you have, like, actual... Are you going to substantiate it? Could you fucking substantiate anything?
aren't you showing your face? You can post up everybody's channels and argue with them and say these people are delusional, but you don't even make videos. You don't even do anything.
Technically, because he's a Twitter account. Does everyone who makes content have to be making video content? Like, what's your argument here? What's your argument here, bro?
Because you're nothing. If you actually click on his Discord link, I'm probably not going to even read this out loud, but you can just read what that says. And I'm the crazy person in this situation. And it's not just this Twitter account.
Hey, look, man. Gooning's too intense for me, but I'm not going to object to people who want to goon necessarily. Actually, no. If you're masturbating for 15 hours a day, get help.
The people who try to argue and say that I'm crazy for stuff I say usually have these weird seedy discords where mental crap is going on.
Okay, so right now his only defense, he has not even said what he's defending himself against. Like, this is actually the problem. Like, this bothers, like, on a certain level, this kind of bothers me more. Because this is the third video. And he makes substanceless content. There is no substance to his content. He is not giving you real analysis. He is just literally, this is just culture war bullshit. Culture war bullshit.
And yeah, I'm talking about Turkey Tom, or Tom Dark, whatever the hell the bastard's name.
Turkey Tom, I have mixed feelings on Turkey Tom, but Turkey Tom generally does pretty detailed breakdowns of things. Ooh, does Turkey Tom have a video on this guy?
You're a freak. And don't bother zooming in on me, a 15-year-old kid's face, looking at...
Oh, he's 15. Oh, making a video making fun of a 15-year-old. Kid, get fucking help. Get help. Oh, I feel bad about myself now. Ugh. He's got 23,000 followers. What the subscribers? Jesus Christ. This is exploitation. Your father is exploiting you. And at 23, 25,000 or whatever it was, you're making money at this. This is a job.
At it on your computer screen, then talking about all these weird subjects in your freaky discords, because you're not gonna win.
Some people got freaky discords, man. This is not a real argument. You haven't said what you're defending yourself against. All you have done is try to attack the character of these other people. You have not addressed any claims. And, like, the fact that your thumbnail says, I'm not racist, makes this worse. Because you're not even addressing the claims against you at all. And yet, the video tells us that someone must have called you racist. I mean, you did defend Batman. You were mad that Batman was beating up Nazis, which is a weird take.
This channel isn't something where I apologize and come out and say, I'm so sorry, you degenerate gooner, because I said something that offended you. If you think...
What did you say? What did this guy even attack you for? The fact that you're not saying makes me think it must be indefensible.
Think I'm ever gonna do that, then stick it up your ass, because it's not happening. Now all you have to do is just scroll through this guy's account.
I don't know if anyone would expect that. Oh, I see okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, I'm gonna move this over.
And he's posting up just some random stuff, but then he posts up this Ryan Cannell, RK Outpost, a great channel. He might not go that hard as he should most of the time, but he is.
This other anti-woke grifter should be more extreme. His content should be more like mine, where I'm not afraid to call everything gay and I'm gonna censor that word, by the way, and you'll see how to actually censor a fucking word you're editing. You fucking idiot.
He's doing some good work. And how is this cringe? in any way. John Bernthal saying, what are your pronouns? Oh, it's a big joke, is it? Then what about the true story behind that?
I haven't seen Punisher Born Again yet. I mean, sorry, not Punisher Born Again, Daredevil Born Again yet. I've been meaning to, but I've been in this weird thing where like I'm playing way more video games than I am watching shows. And I know that I should either get back to watching shows or cancel anything that I'm paying for involving shows.
That video. John Bernthal was at some fan convention and all these trans mentally ill freaks came up to him and he was taking pictures like...
John Barenthal is a based trans ally. This kid probably doesn't even know what trans people are, to be completely honest, because he's just calling them trans kids mentally ill. And while there is a lot of comorbidity that goes with being trans in and of itself is not itself a mental illness. In fact, actually, even standard mental illnesses are only considered mental illnesses when they start to negatively impact your ability to function. Fun fact. Like, a lot of people got anxiety, but some people have anxiety.
Like some tough guy standing next to him like, yeah, pulling a big tough face. They're freaks, John. You're the Punisher. Those...
Yeah, and the Punisher would not let you kill a trans person.
People are insane and they believe that there's something that they're entirely not. You come down here,
I'm not gonna make a big thing about this, but you have to understand. But just for the record, this guy doesn't know anything about trans people. Trans people understand what their biological makeup is, understand that they have male or female genitals. They understand that. If they didn't understand that, they wouldn't have the same levels of distress that they experience. You literally don't understand what they're going through, which is sad because, I mean, look at you. You would think that you'd have some crossover of knowing what it's like to be misgendered.
He's posting about the new fantastic flop. That Star Wars girl, another...
The new Fantastic Four is awesome, and anything you have to say about it's probably trash.
Good content creator. Everything Hollywood makes now is a cheap downgrade of what we...
I should have said this earlier in the video. Don't fuck with this kid. Just don't fuck with this kid. There's no reason to harass this kid. There's no reason to get in his shit. He's fucking 15. Best case scenario, one day he wakes up and realizes the way he makes his money is exploitative and dumb, and that his content is literal slop.
We had before, and it shows. A perfectly coherent and normal statement that makes perfect sense. But somehow it's cringe, and these retards...
I gotta go back because I have no idea what...
Good content creator. Everything Hollywood makes now is a cheap downgrade of what we had before, and it shows. A perfectly coherent...
That is a cringe comment. Especially since the new Fantastic Four is significantly better made and looking than the previous Fantastic Four, that it's comparing as a downgrade.
Coherent and normal statement that makes perfect sense, but somehow it's cringe, and these
I mean, it's an opinion, and it's cringe.
Retards think that it's delusional. You come down again, another thing about Fantastic...
The man doesn't actually know how to censor anything. It's hilarious. This child, I should say.
Flop. A Mexican, old lady, probably gay guy, actual gay guy, laughing my ass off. This post couldn't be more...
But that's who they are in real life, not who they are in the movies. And also, this is a whole other topic, but like, Pedro Pascal is a white Latino. Like, it's not like he's Afro-Latino. Just so you're aware.
Accurate. It's just the truth. And after many more spasticated posts, all you have to do is scroll down and you see me. Why Spider-Man 4 will be woke propaganda. It's entirely true. Did you not
No one knows what's happening in that movie yet. Shut the fuck up.
watch the video? I'm not making it up. It's just the truth. And you're so sad that you can't even accept it. You come down here and you see someone looking like this should have no rights calling Zendaya an ugly black chick who looks like a boy. Sorry to break it to you.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but that is indeed throwing rocks in a glass house.
But I can call anybody whatever I want.
I mean, technically, but like, the point is that you are very androgynous, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you're androgynous, and you should just like accept it. I mean, like, it's clear. Like, I mean, you're 15. Maybe this problem you're having growing facial hair will clear up. I can tell by the way that it's growing in there that you're not exactly, that it doesn't exactly come easy to you. But, like, you are androgynous, man. I'm sorry. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, like, maybe you shouldn't be, calling other people out. I mean, like, do you understand the meme? Because that meme kind of nailed you.
And I'm gonna call you an idiot retard, and I'm gonna call Zendaya an ugly black bitch. Sorry to break the...
Calling Zendaya ugly is wild. She is a very beautiful young lady. I do worry about her body weight sometimes, but you know what? It's actually none of my business. And as long as Zendaya and her doctors aren't concerned about it, no one else should be either.
The news to all of you, but this channel isn't supposed to be a feast for your eyes. I'm not some model here to look good for...
Oh, so you think that they were just generally slamming your attractiveness? I mean, it's because you're androgynous. The meme is because you're androgynous looking.
For you. I'm here to deliver a message. It's not a nice one and you're not gonna like it. So you can post my face and my thumbnails all across the internet, Twitter or YouTube. It doesn't really change.
I will say, now that I know you're 15, people shouldn't do that too much. That's, gets dicey. It's dicey.
Anything. I'm going to continue to keep pissing you off. It isn't rage bait. It's not that I don't believe anything.
But like, if it's not rage bait, then what is your content? Like, they're not essays. These don't count as video essays because you don't have a thesis, you don't make a point, you're not building towards a conclusion of some kind like an essay. So what are these? Some of these videos are clearly like just commentary on current events, but like your commentary is not great. Like, you didn't make a single point during that entire Absolute Batman video. Like, your Green Arrow video was a little bit better because it functioned effectively as a positive review for something, even if you were attaching a series of points to that review that you don't substantiate and have to leave out information about the character and the writer and his run on the comics to substantiate. And also, your thumbnail makes a claim that you don't really back up. Like, plenty of books people love don't get on top 100 lists. Like, not getting on a top 10 or a top 15 or wherever you're getting these lists, it doesn't mean it's hated. Those aren't mutually exclusive concepts. It doesn't, the argument is unfounded and you don't really substantiate the claim you made in the thumbnail. Because at the end of the day, you don't really seem to make any real claims. You just call names and say shit's gay and then you don't you don't even substantiate those claims. Like, you don't even clarify, you at no point show us the thing in any of the books or movies or of what I have seen in none of these videos, at any point in these specific videos, did you ever clarify why something was gay? Why? You don't substantiate anything. You just drop the slur and leave that to fill in your audience's mind. But the reality is that people don't need videos to say the obvious thing. That's why many people don't comment on obvious things. If you think these things are so obvious, then why are you making videos about them? By the way, they're not obvious. You're just making unsubstantiated arguments and claims. Oh, there's more of this. This isn't over.
Anything that I say, I believe everything I say 100%. This channel is 100.
But like, the thing is, you don't say a lot. Like, you haven't backed up a single claim, and you haven't substantiated a single claim, and sometimes it's not even clear if you're making a claim. Like, we're almost through this video, and like, all I know is that you in the thumbnail said I'm not racist, but you haven't brought up anyone calling you racist. You haven't made any claims that would defend yourself from racism. Like, what the fuck is happening?
100% authentic. I don't lie to anybody. I'm gonna call you out if you're speaking some bullcrap. I don't care if you're on my side or not. This ties into a bigger issue that I've covered in other videos that you can watch if you want.
But like, I get the distinct impression that you don't know anything.
But I'm talking about these people who call themselves comic book fans. To see what I'm talking about, all you have to do is look at who this guy is following. Pronouns, gay flag.
But okay, but like this argument you're making doesn't add up. Saying that people who... Your argument is essentially, you're trying to say that because these people believe in pronouns or have a gay flag in their thing, that they are somehow not comic book fans? That doesn't translate. That's not a real argument. You can't just be like, hey man, obviously comic books aren't for the gays. You can't be a comic book fan, you're gay. You can't be a comic book fan, you have pronouns. I don't understand how the English language works, even though I'm from the country it's from. Like, what? This is not how you make an argument. You can be gay and love comic books. Jesus Christ. It's weird that you would even try to make that an argument.
Flag pronouns, gay people. Free Palestine, gay people. It's really
fun. Now you can't believe in comic books if you support Palestine? Like, your opinion on like, comic books are a medium. They can be liked by a range of people of beliefs and worldviews. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is sadly not the video where he talks about redheads, apparently.
Formulaic. I don't know what to say. Every single person who you follow is a freak just like you. Anybody who isn't living in your sick world of degeneracy and self-righteous liberalism.
So like you just hate these people? You're just a hater. You're just a hater. Like, what the fuck is... This is sad. This is sad and gross. Don't... Leave him alone. He's a child. I'm gonna continue my criticism, but like... We shouldn't be harassing a child on the internet.
You just can't handle it. But here's what I'm gonna say. I'm never gonna change any...
You seem to be the one that can't handle it. Like, you're the one making these videos where you attack anything for being gay or woke. And, like, that implies that you're the one who can't handle it.
Anything, and I'm never gonna tone down my channel for anybody. It's just not gonna happen.
But have you considered making it better? Like, just like making better content? Have you considered that? I mean, to be fair, I've considered it and I've consistently said no. You got 23,000 viewers and you did it all on whatever this is?
Anything, I'm gonna do the opposite, where I keep on getting more extreme. I'm not doing it for clicks or...
What do you mean by more extreme? Why does it bother you that Batman murdered a lot of white supremacists? What's that got to do with you? Are you a white supremacist? Because that appears to be the thing that you're actually afraid to say out loud. You just say the part where you attack Batman for attacking Nazis, and then act like that's just lame, man. As if people don't love murdering Nazis. There are entire film franchises, entire video games franchises built around the idea that people love to kill a fucking Nazi.
Or likes. I'm doing it because it's pure. It's not this fake crap of, hey, comic book cringe. We all love comic books. Join our weird little Discord. To tell you the brutally honest truth,
You just described people coming together over shared interests. This is why comic books are dying. Listen, kid, I feel bad for you. This is fucking sad, actually.
Interested in comic books. I'm not interested in communism and the homosexuality that...
You don't have to be into those things to like comic books. But also being into those things doesn't disqualify you from liking or enjoying comic books either. Like, what do you think this is? What do you get out of culture war grifting? Because all culture war is grift, by the way. All culture war is grift. Anyone who is attempting to do culture war is ultimately grifting. Because all they're doing is saying, hey, other people don't engage with culture the same way, and that's bad. But the problem is that you can't fully control culture. Culture is a fluid thing. It is constantly changing. It's constantly moving. And culture war people are just people who are attempting to directly influence culture and alter it. So what is it you want to change, little red-headed boy? What is it? What would you like to change? Honestly, from your appearance, I assume that we share ancestors who would be embarrassed by you.
That comes with the modern comic book fan. I'm going to keep on rejecting it, and it doesn't matter if I'm the only person doing it and you ratio me 10 times over. I don't care.
You actually shouldn't ratio him 10 times over. That only makes him more visible. And he's not at a place where he's actually listening to criticism. I really hope, because he's so young, I really hope one day he wakes up and understands that this thing he was going through was just him trying to find his place in the world. And that he didn't need to have all this hate or disgust for other people. It's not necessary. I hope one day he can let go of that. And understand that all he is doing is feeding himself poison while hoping that black people die. In fairness, he still hasn't addressed the racism in this video at all. In fact, actually, if you start a video with a thumbnail that says, I'm not racist, and then you go on a rant where you say, I'm going to only get more extreme, I kind of have to assume that you're racist. Like, you haven't even denied being racist yet. Did you sit down, record this? I mean, maybe it's in the last few seconds. I don't know. But did you sit down, record this, and then we're suddenly like, oh, fuck. I didn't say I wasn't racist. And then just put it in the thumbnail and was like, that'll do it. Like, what?
And if you got a problem with it, go complain to your boyfriend.
Oh, that's his catchphrase. Go complain to your boyfriend must be his catchphrase. Oh, man. You know, I didn't find the video I was looking for. But I finally did do my video on ranting for vengeance. And I vaguely regret it. It's just because it's sad, okay? He's literally just a kid. He's literally just making these videos, probably based on shit his dad is force-feeding him. He's then making these videos, and in the context of making these videos, he just, like, he doesn't know how to form an argument. He doesn't build into any type of conclusion. It's, like, they're not good. Like, that's actually the thing that surprised me most, is that, like, his videos are badly constructed. And I say that to you as someone who fucking wings this shit 8 times out of 10. Like, it just... His whole videos are just ad hominem, ad hominem, ad hominem, ad hominem. And it is an ad hominem because he doesn't support any of the premises. He doesn't support his own arguments. He believes that calling something gay and is enough. And that you should just accept that. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating, honestly. But also sad. Mostly sad. Especially since he had to lie about Mike Grell. Side note, you should definitely read The Long Bow Hunter. He is right about that. It's deeply ironic that he mentioned an incredibly woke storyline about Japanese internment camps and ignored the fact that it was woke, though. Alright, well, anyways, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever, whoever you are. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Yeah! Don't fuck with that kid. Leave him alone. We won't fix him by being mean. Although, to be fair, I don't know if being nice will fix him either. But don't... But still, he's 15. Don't be mean to a 15-year-old.